Never approach this woman. If you approach this woman, you are more likely to end up on TikTok and be canceled for it. This woman has a method, a foolproof method as to how to repel men. And we're going to take a look at that right now.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot and it went fine. And I'm going to tell you why it went fine and how to address it, because it was in a book I read and this is how you're supposed to address it, but it scared me. I'm literally shaking.
You read that technique in a book. Ladies, here's the thing, okay? I have a foolproof method for you. You guys are ready? If you really want to repel men, all you have to do simply is ask for a relationship.
So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, "Excuse me, miss," and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, "Do not approach me." And he immediately started going in the other direction, and I just kept saying it over and over and over. I said, "Do not approach me. Do not approach me."
Oh, I forgot my wallet. Fuck you. Do not approach me.
And he, of course, got what the F did it? He started cussing and yelling, what's your problem? And I looked at him and he actually then crossed a couple cars down from my car. And he didn't come anywhere near me. He crossed a couple cars down from my car and was continuing to cuss and say, "What's your problem?" And I say, "You do not approach women in a parking lot." I just kept saying, "Do not approach me. You do not approach women in a parking lot."
It's almost as if she's describing an encounter with a bear. Okay, here's a little survival tip for the ladies and men out there, okay? If you ever encounter a man in the wild, okay, you don't act like a little bitch. Don't turn around and run away, because usually when you run away, that's like an instinct for them to go after you, okay? If you ever encounter a man, okay, stay firm in your position. Make sure you make yourself look big, okay? Both arms in the air. And you say with a lot of conviction, "Will you marry me?" This man will turn around so fast that within the next second, he'll smack himself into a pole. And from that point forward, you're pretty much just telling the story at a party and laughing about it. All right, honestly, this whole story sounds like something a threatened person should do in a situation like this. And here's the thing, okay? I'll do the same as well, okay? If you look like a shady figure and you are approaching me with purpose, dude, I'm going to power up into an asshole. The only thing that I don't like about her story is that she's ostracizing men from victimhood and she's inadvertently stereotyping us.
No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. Ever. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them. Don't be polite. They need to literally screw off. No male should be approaching you in a parking lot.
So why are ladies the only ones deserving of that advice? I mean, men also deserve that advice, because believe it or not, we also get approached by shady figures as well. Okay, and I want to go ahead and just say this, okay? Because this is just common sense. I don't need statistics to show you guys, but here's the thing, okay? Men, even though they are much more capable than women at defending themselves against a perpetrator, it's not a guaranteed success. I want to go ahead and mention this. Anytime somebody posts a video about some conviction they have and they disable the comments, it gives the optical impression that you don't really stand on that belief, even though we all know that that's not the case. We just don't want to deal with the negativity that comes with, the comment section. However, I wouldn't do that, obviously, because I want to be a social figure. So I feel like I don't have that right. I'm sure some parents probably wanted to know the name of the book. That's the book right there. I'm sure it's probably a good resource. Just because I'm here just kind of making fun of it doesn't mean that I think that her actions were stupid. I actually agree with her actions. The only thing I don't like was the stereotyping.
Hi guys, I'm just jumping on here to say that comments are filtered until further notice, probably for a very long time, because you guys are just being mean. You're being mean to me, you're being mean to other people in the comments, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if something else was posted on Twitter or Reddit that has just brought back the incels or something, but this is kind of ridiculous. So no comment will be posted unless I approve it. And I'm really sorry that I have to do this.
Again, the reason why men are triggered is because you are ostracizing men from victimhood and you are instead drawing a stereotype for the viewer.
No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. Ever. Stay safe out there, ladies, because if you don't keep you and yours safe, no one else is going to. And as a woman, never underestimate your instincts.
I don't know, man. To me, it just doesn't seem like she's intentionally doing this. I feel like she just doesn't realize what she's saying, because this is stuff that, you know, people don't exactly think about. But again, like, don't just give your opinion without constructively structuring it, so then you can make sure that you don't have any prejudices in your statement. Now I want to go ahead and talk about this video where, like, this guy, he got stitched or tagged onto this particular video where, like, this cop, his name is Nate, he kind of gave his opinion about the entire situation.
This brings up a couple of issues, not the least of which is that this is contributing to the deterioration of the way in which we treat each other in a polite society. I mean, if I can't approach a woman in a public place to say, "Excuse me, ma'am, you dropped this," without her turning around and screaming her head off and causing a scene, then we're staring down the road into a future where we no longer treat each other with common decency.
He talked about how this behavior leads to people being a little more disrespectful towards other people, and I thought that this guy's opinion about it was very disingenuous.
No longer treat each other with common decency.
So I was tagged in this video where this man is upset that men are being discouraged from approaching random women in parking lots. Now the video itself is a response to this video.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot.
Danielle is a lone female with a child. A man is 30 feet away and approaches her and says, "Hey ma'am." She does not want to be approached, and so she yells at him, "Do not approach me," and continues to yell at him until he goes away. The comments on her original video are pretty vile. Men calling her out for being crazy and hysterical. And Nate here seems to think that this modest act of impoliteness is going to be responsible for the downfall of civility. Downfall of civility.
That is a beautiful straw man. It's eloquently articulated, poetically structured, and stupid.
And what's frustrating about this is Nate actually runs headfirst into the point.
Genuinely seems shaken up by this, but my question is why? He's probably doing it in order to cause you harm.
And that should be where the video ends. A man is confused by a woman's behavior, he puts himself in her shoes, displays a little empathy and compassion, and suddenly we all grow and learn from the experience. The end. But sadly, we don't live in that world.
I'm not saying that stuff like that doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen often enough to warrant that kind of a reaction.
That's right, he doesn't feel it happens often enough for women's fear to be justified, which begs the obvious question of how much assault does he think needs to happen for women's fear to be justified? But that's on us, because as everyone knows, if you want to know how often violence against women is enacted, you don't ask a former cop, you ask a cop's wife.
Maybe I miss some of the details, but why would I ask the cop's wife? Why do I care about what she has to say about the matter? I'm going to look up statistics and research the content if I really want to know more about the subject. I wouldn't rely on a single human who probably isn't even accounting for the variables involved.
This shouldn't need to be said, but it does not matter whether you feel the fear is justified or not. She was very clearly shaken up by the experience. The fear was very real to her. And it seems obvious that a single woman alone with a child, whether she should prioritize being polite or setting and establishing boundaries so that they are safe, a civilized society would say, be safe every time, forget about being polite. But even worse, Nate's real concern isn't actually civility.
A traditional man will want to pursue a woman face to face in a public setting. If you're a woman in the market for a man, you might want to open yourself up to the idea of meeting and talking to a man in these more public places like the grocery store or the gym if you want to find the type of man that you were looking for.
Nate's main concern is that if women stop allowing strange men to approach them in parking lots, how are middle-aged traditional men like him supposed to get laid?
Oh my god, dude, another brain-rotting talking point. How are middle-aged men supposed to get laid? I despise this talking point. It's such a thought-terminating cliche. It's not even funny at this point. Dude, it's not about getting laid. The officer is simply stating that this could potentially lead towards a future where people are less likely to respect each other. Dude, like, his argument is riddled with asinine logical fallacies. Like, objectively, I agree with him, but I just can't help myself and be against this guy because he's just so smug about it. Like, I would side with the opposing force even though I don't agree with them, because this guy is so smug. Such arrogance. And the thing is that he's somewhat doing a disservice to this woman. Because again, the impression that I get from this woman is that she doesn't know that she's inadvertently drawing stereotypes. And this guy is reinforcing that stance, making her believe that her stance is correct. And that men who are triggered about it, they're in the wrong.
The amount of guys that are triggered by my last post is like unhinged, absolutely unhinged.
Okay, here's a message to the woman, okay? If you ever watch this, the reason why men are triggered is because you are ostracizing them from victimhood. You are drawing stereotypes and you are making men look like the culprits. I know it doesn't seem like that's the case because all of these men are trying to find flaws in your logic, but that's what they really feel because they don't exactly know how to articulate what they feel. Advising people is great. What you did was great. I would have done the same thing as well. However, when you remove a group of people because you believe that they are the perpetrators, you're going to have that same group channeling accusatory statements into reactive emotional waves that will evoke more confusion and chaos rather than security and tranquility. And so I have some final thoughts, okay? The guy who ended up approaching her, honestly, dude, that's kind of what you get. All right, I don't feel bad for you. If you end up on TikTok because you ended up approaching a woman, dude, I'm not going to feel bad for you. We've already warned people not to approach people, but men still do it, and well, you're gonna end up on TikTok. I don't cold approach anybody. There is a way to talk to people who you don't know, but cold approaching, like raw cold approaching, I will not recommend it. Honestly, I can't wait till the day the guy who doesn't heed this warning of not approaching people picks up a lost cute puppy, returns it to a woman, and then once he turns around, there's a entire football team of cops ready to tackle him. Like, I'm not going to feel bad, bro. I'm not. Remember, women can also be shady figures, okay? Maybe not like men, but you know, a gorgeous woman is probably trying to hook this guy who is just trying to pick up a woman, leads him back to an apartment, and then in that same apartment, there's 6 guys there with rifles. They tie him up and then ask for a ransom. Like, remember, women can also be shady figures as well, okay? Not just men. So I just want to go ahead and leave you guys with that. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys learned something today.